Hi guys, Jamie here from Energy Therapy. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about remote healing, spirituality or energetics, and how that ties into physical health, emotional well-being, and mental acuity, or the sharpness of having a mind which is not burdened by thinking. So a lot of people are going through a lot of stress today. I think there's a lot more on the planet than there was before because of the way we become fractured. We are literally going back into sort of a materialistic paradigm. But a lot of people who have explored, living from a conscious perspective, have known that they can be empowered. Like the old paradigm of where you were reliant on drugs and medication. To be well has really died a death in a lot of ways because it's all about being proactive. So yes, you need to exercise, taking really good health supplements, eating clean foods, organic foods, whole foods. These can all really help on the physical level. But the most important thing really is that the physical, emotional, mental levels are all actually tied into your spirit, so your spiritual level of well-being, because your primary source of energy is your spirit. And the interesting thing for me, working as a medical intuitive, a health intuitive for the last 20 years, is that having worked with people who are very, very bright, so for example, doctors, lawyers, dentists, regular mums and dads as well, grandparents, people just seeking another way of expressing themselves in the world. What's really fascinating is that these people have embraced a new way of living. And perhaps it's not a new way because there were ancient civilizations before, like Lemuria and Atlantis and ancient Egypt, and those civilizations were very advanced, including the Mayans as well. They understood that we had a physical body and we also had an energy body, and the ancient yogis, of course, and rishis also spoke about this. They talked about the pranic body. The ancient Egyptians talked about the physical body being the khat, and then the pranic body being the ka. But there is a primary field of energy that sustains us. And of course, when the physical body experiences death, then we no longer exist on this material plane. And you can put the body into sunlight, you can feed it water, give it water, feed it food, and you will not revive a dead body because medicine fails at that point. Doctors are powerless in the face of death. In fact, all healers are, and psychics, because actually the soul or the atma, whatever you want to call it, it's just really, these are words, but that energy, once it leaves the body, the body is no longer being sustained by it. So therefore, no amount of energy medicine, even or yoga or nothing can revive it because the soul is primary. Okay, and a lot of near-death experiences have pointed to this. So what I want to say to you is, in session with somebody who's conscious or present, that person is emanating already a high vibrational rate, or has a presence of energy that's from their spirit. So rather than being identified with a false self-image, they present no image to you, and they just are a pure reflection of your consciousness. They can sit in space with you and listen. And that's effectively what I do with my clients in session. I listen really carefully to what they're saying so I can see the patterning, the life patterning that's affecting them. And a lot of people are carrying trauma, unhealed trauma, and that presents itself in various ways, through addiction, through broken relationships or repeated dysfunctional relationships, through addictive physical things like maybe sex or eating wrong foods. There's lots of ways that a sort of inherent dysfunction can play out. And actually, when we come into this life as souls, then when we have dysfunctional relationships early on in childhood, we don't have the perfect loving parents or society, or we're schooled in certain ways and we have certain erroneous thoughts. This can create low self-esteem, guilt, can create all kinds of havoc without us really being aware of it. And awareness is an interesting thing because it can be narrow and we can contract and become very small, or it can be very big and we can become much bigger than we are and bigger than our problems and see life from a new vantage point. Now, in session, as a healer and as a remote intuitive, I work listening to the person. So I look for the energies underneath the life situation, and also the physical body is also carrying energy. So when you have something physical, you also may have emotional energies underpinning that. Certainly energetics like meridians or chakras will be blocked. And it's really important to look at those, because those are your, the chakra system, for example, is the primary, or the energetics of your body is the primary system. So if you just heal on the physical level, then your body will likely repeat the pattern, especially if there's psychological disturbances as well. Because the healing process needs to look at the psychological levels, the spiritual levels, the emotional levels. If it doesn't, it's not treating the whole person. So I also link with what I call spirit. Now, spirit for me is the quantum field. It's the conscious universe. Again, I'm just using words, but sort of the labels, they're pointers to something. But inherently, you are already connected to that. So when you do things like go into nature and just quiet the mind, maybe look at a beautiful sunrise or sunset, listen to birds singing, if you're having even a massage and you don't talk and you just drop into that quiet space, or you're washing the dishes and you feel the water on your hands, all these things allow you to kind of drop into what I call being, and a space of non-doing. So you already then start to kind of vibrate at a higher frequency, like the mind's overthinking, overactive, reactionary state of daily state of consciousness is therefore no longer playing out, and you get back in touch with something that's real, actually. So in session, when I'm with you, I would ask spirit, for example, what I call spirit, to clean the energies. Now, it's a really fascinating process, but dowsing for health actually taught me about this, and specifically something called spiritual response therapy. And I was a teacher for many years of it. It's really interesting. When we ask the universe for something, it's literally given in that moment, and we can have literally a somatic experience that the body will give a yes signal to show that that information has been absorbed by the body, or released from the body, or downloaded from spirit. We upload and download programs just like our phones do. And in fact, the system of cleaning that I learned was actually developed by a guy called Robert Detzler. And he actually talks about uploading, downloading programs as a soul long before computers were fashionable and we had all this kind of tech speak. So that was really fascinating, because obviously when everything kicked off, when you had the internet and uploading and downloading, and everybody knows about apps and uploading and downloading now, and gigs of data and whatever. This is all common speak. But in those days, prior to this all being very ubiquitous, nobody really knew about that, but he was talking about it. So it's very interesting that our outer technology mirrors our inner technology. So anyway, my gift has always been about being very aware of the subtle nature of reality. What's the energy underpinning it? What's the energy underpinning your life, the problems that you're facing? And when I sit in session, what happens is it's almost like you clean the mirror. I want to say, like the mirror that's become dusty or foggy or stained or scratched or whatever you want to call it. This mirror of the mind becomes burdened by life. So we can ask the spirit within you to clean that energy. And it's interesting, even if you're thousands of miles away, if you read the testimonials on my site, some clients have been very skeptical and they're going, I'm sure this won't help me. They've been sort of desperate, and they've come and they've done it, and they haven't believed in this particular line of thinking or doing or being. So they have been very skeptical, and yet something has happened, something shifted dynamically in their consciousness. So from eating habits to losing weight, to relationships becoming much more harmonious, feeling more peace within themselves, manifesting, the right work that they want to do, whether it's a job or setting up their own business. Many things come out of right alignment, right centering in yourself. If you are conscious with yourself, everything can then flow. But what's really fascinating is, of course, if you have two people who are, meeting. I mean, obviously, in the old days, I used to meet with clients in person, but even before COVID, I was meeting with people on Zoom, not Zoom actually. I was Skype and when Facebook launched, not Facebook, FaceTime on Apple. I was meeting with clients that way. So remote work for me took off for me in 2008, 2009. In a big way, and so this is nothing new for me. But I want to share this with you because it's interesting. Nothing really has to happen in terms of, there's no sending of energy. We exist in an interconnected field. There's a quantum entanglement. So it's like when I say to people, so have a think about this. If you have friends or family abroad, and say, for example, you think of a loved one or a friend who's abroad, or a family member, mother or father or brother or sister or whoever, when you think of that person, how long does it take for thought to reach that person? And if you really think about it, you'll probably understand that it actually doesn't take any time at all. You're already connected. So quite often people will say, "Oh, I was just thinking about you," and then the phone rang. Or isn't that funny? We just bumped into each other. If you're in the same city but you haven't seen each other for a long time. There's synchronicities that happen. So but the interesting thing is most people have lived a life of disconnection, so they're not able to ask their own inner being or spirit or guides to help them clean their own life patterning, their own energy field, and therefore they keep repeating stuff. So the interesting thing is, if you are open to this sort of work, you don't have to believe in it. You just have to be open to it. You have to kind of see. For me as a yogi, I'm going to call it. I've done yoga for many years, and I'm a yoga teacher. If you are open to something, it means you can have an inquiring, skeptical mind, but you're not shutting yourself off from something else. You are fully open to that possibility, I want to say. And then you just see for yourself, if you want to have an experience of anything, you try it out and you see if you like it or not. That's basically what and how it affects you. So swimming would be a good example. If you've been all your life living on land and then you say, okay, I want to go in the sea. You go in the sea and you see, is it cold? Is it hot? What does it feel like? What does the water feel like in my body? Maybe later on you try diving or surfing, or you go swim with dolphins. There's all kinds of experiences that come out of an intention to do something new and to explore something and to experience something. But you can't read about swimming and experience swimming. It's totally different. You can read about it or somebody else's experience of it, but that won't be the same experience as it is for you. So anyway, I want to leave you with that, and I'll be doing some more videos on how to live consciously, how to breathe consciously, how to incorporate energy work into your life. And I look forward to helping some of you. So hit the like button, share button, and I look forward to some of you booking in. I'll leave the link below, and feel free to reach out, obviously, by email or through the contact page. Okay, God bless. Take care.